be showing you a grocery store training video. We're going to go over how to stock shelves, rotate product, as well as how to front and face products on our shelves. If you have any questions, feel free to ask your staff. They'll pause the video and answer any questions you have. Also, you and your staff will have a group discussion about the video after it finishes. So sit back, relax, and enjoy grocery store training. So today, we're going to be working on our Gatorade shelf here. We got a new shipment of Gatorades in today, and we have to put those on the shelf. First things first is we want to pull the items to the front of the shelf, and we'll talk about fronting and facing a little bit later in this video. But when we have new product, we have it right in this box here. When we have new product, we have to make sure we rotate it, no matter what the product is. So what does rotating mean? Well, simply, we have to make sure our new stuff goes behind the old product, so that way the old products will sell before the new ones. So here we have our box of new product. We want to take these, and even though they're the exact same as these ones, these were here first. So we want to take these and we want to put them behind the old ones. Put the new ones behind the old ones. So that way, the old ones, they sell first. It's very important that we rotate product. You never ever want to put new product in front of the old product. Because what's going to happen is that old product is going to get shoved to the back of the shelf. And it's never going to sell. Before you know it, it'll expire. And nobody wants to be drinking expired Gatorade. Something else to consider when putting out new product is you always want to make sure you keep an eye on the expiration dates. Some items that come in, even though they're new, they could have the same expiration date as something old. So in that case, you could put that in front of the other one. But you always want to make sure you're checking expiration dates. Now, say a customer was going to buy this Gatorade, but then they got to the registers and they decided, I don't really want it. So then they gave it back to the cashier. Cashier then gave it to us to go put back on the shelf. Now, as we just learned, I'm going to stop and I'm going to check the expiration date on this. All right, so this has an older expiration date than these do. So what that means is I have to put this one all the way in the back of those ones. Now, sometimes that's not easy to do. Sometimes we can't always just reach in and stick it in there. Sometimes the shelves are really full. So what we have to do is we have to carefully take the product off the shelf, nice and neatly, because we don't want to create more work for ourselves. But we just take the product right off the shelf. Here's our old one. We put it right behind, and then we just put the product right back on the shelf, like it never even happened. Another important thing to consider when stocking shelves is you always want to put like items with like items. So what does that mean? That means the Gatorade is going to go with the other Gatorade, but we're going to separate it by flavor and color. We wouldn't want to take this pink Gatorade and put it right there. That doesn't look right. Now you have a green, a pink, a green, and a pink. That's kind of silly, isn't it? So we want to make sure we're putting the pinks with the pink Gatorade and keeping the green separate. That way, when a customer comes to shop this product, they'll be able to get the product that they want. You know, if they're coming to get the green and you've got all pink in front of the green, the customer may not notice that the green's just right behind the pink. So we always want to make sure all items are represented at the front of the shelf, just like that. With that being said, we always want to make sure we're fronting and facing product when we're putting product up originally or during the day to make the shelves look nice and neat. So what do I mean by fronting and facing? I'm glad you asked. Have you ever gone into a grocery store and the shelf looked kind of something like that? I know I have, especially when it's busy. Sometimes customers, knock items over or they'll push something back, and it's our job as grocery employees to come and make it look nice for the next customer. So what we're going to do here is we're going to front and face our product. So 2 words you heard there. 1, fronting. Fronting means you're going to take an item and move it to the front of the shelf. You always want to, again, be keeping an eye on your expiration dates to make sure that what you're bringing to the front is the oldest product so that it will sell first. You always want to keep the newer stuff, the stuff that's going to last for a while, in the back. So this is fronting. We're going to pull all the items to the front of the shelf. And the reasoning we do that is because some customers aren't as tall as me or you. Some customers are a little vertically challenged. So they may have difficulty seeing a product if it's not at the front of the shelf. Now, we're looking at the top shelf, but we're looking at it from a shorter person's perspective. Maybe this person's in a wheelchair, or maybe they're just a little bit shorter than the rest of us. But now, they're looking up at that top shelf, and they don't see anything. You might see the tops of a couple bottle caps, but you can't tell what flavor they are. You don't know what's on that shelf. Even though we come up and we see that the shelf is full of good Gatorade, at this angle, someone might not be able to tell, and that's no good. So now what I've done is I fronted our product. I pulled all of our Gatorade bottles to the front of the shelf. We're still at that same angle, we're still very short, but we can now see all the flavors and all the different varieties that we have to offer, which we couldn't see just a moment ago. We want to be sensitive to all shoppers, no matter their height. We want to always be showing what product we have. We don't want to hide it at the back of the shelf. So we just talked about fronting the product. Now we're going to talk about facing the product. What does facing mean? Think of it like our product here. It has a face. Right where the label is, and it tells you what kind it is. Coffee Mate, Nestle, Hazelnut. This is the face of the product. We always want to make sure that the face of the product is facing the customer. Otherwise, a customer might not know what this is. They might say, hey, that looks like Coffee Mate, but they may not be sure what flavor it is. Now, if we don't face it, a customer may take a quick look and say, they don't have my flavor, I'll go somewhere else. We don't want that. We want them to shop at our store. So, it's important that we face the product to the customer. Now the customer can easily see this is Coffee Mate hazelnut flavored. So we're going to do that with all of our product here, all of our Coffee Mates, and turn them all around so that they're facing our customer. Now, this shelf is a whole lot easier to shop knowing what each product is. Now, it's easy to see, after we face the product, how we have it set up. We have the largest all the way over here, and then we have one that's a little bit smaller than the largest, and one that's a little bit smaller than that, and one that's a little bit smaller than that. Remember, it's important to not mix together different sizes. that doesn't even look nice. So we want to make sure we keep like sizes together and like flavors together as well. See how these are all hazelnut? And then here starts the original flavor. We want to keep the original over here because some people, they may not like hazelnut. They may not like this flavor. So they want to be able to easily see and grab the flavor that they came to shop for. Also, it's important to separate by size. If you were to have this right here, just like this, a customer may not realize that this is a smaller bottle than this. Customers oftentimes are trying to get in and out of the store as quickly as possible. So they may just come up to the shelf and grab the first thing that they see. And it may not be the right size, but they may think it's the right size because it's in between two big ones. So it's very important that we put this with its own same-sized items. Something else that we really want to consider when we're fronting and facing a product, and even when we're putting product out for the first time, we want to make sure to take a look and see what each item is. So this is Coffee Mate Hazelnut Liquid Creamer. But this one is Coffee Mate Original Flavor Powder Creamer. Now they look very similar to one another. They have kind of the same colors, red top, kind of the same size, but they're two different products. Now, we want to make sure that we don't accidentally put these items where those are supposed to go, right? Again, customers, they want to get in and out of the store. They don't want to spend 10 minutes looking at a shelf, trying to figure out which one is the one they like. They want to just be able to come into the store and grab the item that they want quickly and easily. Now, with that being said, if here is where the liquid hazelnut is always, but today we put the powdered creamer in there with the original flavor, now somebody who might be in a little bit of a rush might accidentally grab the wrong flavor because they're used to this always being there. In a real grocery store, there's going to be little barcode stickers on the shelf. And on these barcode stickers, it's going to give you a number, and it's also going to give you a very small, brief description of what the item is. For example, on a barcode, it may say Coffee Mate Original Powder, right? And it's also going to have the number. The number that is right here on our barcode, okay? So if we're ever not sure about where to put an item, we can always look at the barcode description at the grocery store. What we can do is we can match the description up with the type of item, and we can also, as a double check, match up the number with the number on the barcode. We never ever just want to put something out because we think that's where it goes. You never want to guess. And if you're ever working at a grocery store and you're putting out items and you're not sure where something goes, ask a coworker or a manager. They'll be able to help you put out the items in the correct location so that way we don't run into any issues. Now you can see we're a little bit lower. We're at the bottom shelf here, and we've got a messed up bunch of product here. So what we got to do is we got to front and face it, like we just learned. An important thing to keep in mind is, even though this is a low shelf, we never want to be sitting while we're working. We always want to make sure we're on our feet. Even if we're down to one knee here, we always want to make sure we're ready to get back up to help a customer if they need help. We never want to be sitting or laying on the ground because that doesn't look very professional either. So now, I'm squatted here at the bottom shelf, and I'm going to front and face this product. See, I pulled it to the front of the shelf, and I put the face facing the customer. So now they can tell that this is Arizona real brewed sweet tea. And again, like we talked about earlier, even though these are the same product, they're in different kinds of containers. This is a big old jug, and that's a can. We don't want to put the can in between the jugs. That'd be kind of silly, wouldn't it? It looks kind of silly, doesn't it? So we want to make sure we're keeping the cans to their own separate area here, while also fronting the product by moving it to the front of the shelf, as well as facing it outward, so that the customer knows exactly what they're looking at. Now, we're back at the top shelf again. And looking at these shelves, they look a little messed up, don't they? They could probably use some fronting and facing. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to front and face the product. And it only takes a second to just give it a little spin to make sure all the labels are facing the customer. And again, I'm separated by size as well. It's actually easier to just separate by size rather than trying to figure out, which one is or what kind it is. So now we're going to do the same thing here. We've got bottles that are laid down. We've got pink Gatorade with the green Gatorade. What's up with that? We want to fix that. So let's take the pink out and we'll start moving the green over. And as we do, we're making sure that the label, G2 Lower Sugar Gatorade, is facing the customer. Even if you're not sure what a label says, you can still tell that the label looks the same on each bottle. Wow. See how much nicer those shelves look? A customer coming to shop this is going to have no problem shopping it because they're going to be able to tell exactly what products we have and how much of each product. That's also something to consider too. If we have half of these Gatorade bottles pushed back, someone may only see these 4 bottles right here. Well, gosh, that's no good. What if they wanted 12? So we always want to make sure we have all the product that we have pulled up to the front, so that way it's visible for our customer. And like I said, we want to front it as we go, and face it as we go as well. So that way it looks really nice for the customer when they come to shop our grocery store. So in conclusion, guys, today we learned about fronting our product, which means bringing it to the front of the shelves, so that way it's easy to see and easily accessible for all of our customers. We also talked about facing our products to make sure the face and the label is facing outward to the customer so that they know what each product is easily without having to do too much investigative work. We also learned about rotating and how when we get new items, we have to put them behind the old items. So that way the old items sell first and don't expire on our shelves, because that's no good. If you have any questions, please remember to ask your staff at the end during your group discussion. Woo!